I recently had to drive about 4 hours to pick up uh, one of my children. Uh, and on my way back, so overall, it was an 8 hour trip. And typically, when I drive over 3 hours, what I like to do, because I found it to just be more economical, is just to rent a car. To rent a car where I am, at least where I am, and we rack up the miles and stuff, and we rack up the points. It's on average $50 a day, $56 a day plus gas. So, how I justify the cost, which is minimal, uh, is that I'm not putting miles on my truck. Um, I know that I ain't gonna break down, um, even though I don't think that I'm gonna break down on my truck. But anything can happen. I can always call roadside assistance when it comes to the rental. There's just a whole lot more benefits associated with driving long distance in a rental as opposed to your own car, from an accident perspective to a mileage perspective, the whole 9 yards. So uh, I went ahead, and as I usually do, is if I'm driving over 3 hours, I go ahead and rent a car. And this particular time, like I do, I always rent a car. And I understand full well that when I'm on the road, I'm going to be judged. I'm going to be profiled. There's nothing that you can do. There's nothing that you can get over it. It is what it is. So instead of complaining about being profiled on the road, and I'm talking about by police officers, state troopers, I just make sure that I try and keep it as tight as possible in terms of how I look. My criminal record, I have no criminal record. I have no DUIs or anything on my driving record. As the world goes, I am squeaky clean. Never been charged with a crime in my life. Not to say I've been accused of things, but I've never been charged of anything in my life. I've always been on a straight, narrow path in that sense when it comes to my life. So, what I attempt to do is to make sure that when I am driving on the road, that I look clean. I'm shaven. Uh, you know, um, I don't look like the normal black man. I'm going to get into that for a second because we definitely have an epidemic, not only of profiling, but of how black men are presented or how they present themselves in society today. When I go out on any normal day, even out in the country, when I see young or men my age that are black, they typically have dreads. They typically have jewelry on. They typically are wearing a baseball cap. They typically have tattoos on their faces. They typically are wearing their pants off their ass. They typically have on a pair of Jordans. They typically look a certain way, wear loud clothes. Anyone knows what I'm talking about. And in this day and age, that's just the culture today. And I believe that just the average urban culture for Black America is trash culture. It produced nothing but trash. And I look at how we used to present ourselves in the 30s and 40s and 50s, and even 60s and early 70s. Our men and our women had a certain modicum or a certain level of class when they walked out. The women didn't walk out with bonnets on their heads, and I'm going somewhere with this. But our men didn't walk out the door with their pants sagging. But now when you look at when it comes to black culture, and I speak from as a black man, and I say even out here, let alone in the urban in the cities. You look at the men and the women in the culture, it looks real debauched and real degenerate. And then you match that up with how they speak, how they interact. It's all trash culture. I mean, it is just gone down the tubes, literally. And it's disheartening to see because I remember a time where brothers and men Even in the early 80s and the early 90s, we took pride in how we looked when we walked out. But now when it comes to men and women, they don't take pride at all at how they look out or how they look and how they present themselves. Um, and so anyway, I get in the car and I'm driving back. I'm tired. I just want to get back home. And if you notice anything about these newer cars, I was driving a GMC, a SUV, and let me tell you, when you get into these newer cars, man, you could be doing 100 miles an hour. You could not tell that you're doing 100 miles an hour. Let me tell you, I could not tell I was doing about 99 miles an hour. And now that was about 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes before I get pulled over. Before I get pulled over. So, um, I'm going ahead and I'm driving, and I see the lights in the back of me. Right? I see the lights in the back of me, and of course, I slow and I pull over to the right of the road, put on my hazards, and the state trooper walk up to the car. Now you know how they do. You know exactly how they do. They walk up to the car. They got the flashlight. They're looking in. They see a child in the back seat. They're looking in. And I don't go anywhere as well. Without my bulletproof vest, as well as my firearm. I don't go anywhere without it. Especially when I'm driving out of town. I try and make sure that I'm armed at all times. So he pulls me over, and first things first, you know how they do, because they are profiling. They are checking you out. They see a child in the back seat. They see me. They're looking all at me, and they say, roll down the window, sir. I know the procedure. Put my hands on the steering wheels. What can I do for you, officer? And he proceeds to tell me that I was driving 91 in a 65. Now, if anybody knows anything about law, anything after a certain mileage, like 70, like if you're going 65, if you're like going over 75 or 85, they have a right to arrest you. They have a right to pull you out the car. They have a right to search your truck. They have a right, you know what I'm saying, to do all of these things. And so, and I believe what saved me was my demeanor, my attitude. Now, at the same time, like again, like I told you about, it couldn't have been more than 10, 15 minutes because the thought just hit me. I was driving and it was just smooth sailing in this new car. And I didn't think, twice about it, you know what I'm saying? But of course, hey, a police officer, clocked me. He got me dead to rights. What am I going to do? I wasn't speeding. Of course I was speeding. I'm caught. What am I going to do? Right? And I did the total opposite. What your typical lawyer or anything would say or would advise you to do. And he says, you were doing 91 in a 65. I said, hey, if that's what you got, that's what you got. And then he proceeds to ask the questions. Where you going? I tell him where I'm going. Where you coming from? I politely ask where I was coming from. Can I have your license? And I said, this is the car rental agreement. May I have your license? He takes my license and he goes back to the car. And at this point in time, I'm not nervous at all. I shit you not. I'm like, all right, cool. It is what it is. Leave it up to y'all. So, he goes and he runs my my driver's license, and of course, he finds absolutely, positively nothing whatsoever. So he comes back to the car and he says, hey, and I saw you were swerving and everything. And, you know how it is. They start talking up charges and stuff. And he said, you were swerving and everything. And I said, he says, have you been drinking? I said, no, I haven't been drinking. If you would like for me to take a breathalyzer, I'd be more than happy to. Now, again, I'm doing everything that a lawyer would tell you not to do. But at the end of the day, I'm caught dead to rights. You know what I'm saying? The idea is that at the end of the day, um, you know how with it, you're driving or whatever, it's smooth sailing. You listen to some music, whatever. I think I was listening to a podcast or something like that. Hey, and it just got ahead of me. But um, after answering all his questions, he looks at me, looks at my, I'm telling you, they look at everything. They look at how you dressed. They are profiling you. They look at you from head to toe. Good, clean pair of cowboy boots on, jeans are priced nice and clean. This is the same sweater that I had on when I was driving. That proceeded to answer all his questions, and he says that, well, hey, why don't you go ahead and just slow down a little bit? You know what I'm saying? I know you're trying to get home or whatever. So you slow down and you have a nice day. Boom. Thank you so much, officer. Gave me my driver's license back. Go on my way. Now, if I had dreads on, I firmly believe this. I firmly believe this. If I had a certain look about me that was different other than somebody that was clean, professional, well-spoken, that situation could have turned out very different. He could have pounded the car. He could have gave me a breathalyzer. He could have called DHS or whatever. He could have did all of these things, right? But he chose because he saw and he read the spirit. Because see, the idea is that profiling somebody, not only are they profiling how you look, but they're profiling your mannerisms. They're profiling how you move, if you're stuttering when you're asking a question, if you're truthful and honest. And I firmly believe that the reason why he let me go and he didn't do anything is because I was honest and I was straightforward. I firmly believe that. I think that he profiled me from literally from my boots to the top of my head, the way I responded to his questions, what I was doing, not giving him any shit. Not giving him any shit. Because I firmly believe, and this goes back to, I've said over and over and over again, when my family goes out into the world, we get nothing but the utmost respect. And the reason why we get the utmost respect was how we carry ourselves. And when you carry yourself a certain way, you'd be surprised how long that goes, especially in this day and age. When you have women, they all ratchet. They want to be combative. They want to trade words with cops. They what I mean. It never works. You're in tactically, you're in no position whatsoever to do anything in this situation, especially if you caught speeding. I don't care if it's 5-10 miles over the speeding limit. You're in no position whatsoever to challenge this situation. But would you see people, because their minds is jacked up, they don't know how to just be humble and just be cooperative, and maybe the Most High will put a spirit on this man just to let you go, just like he let me go. But see, when you present yourself, you got a whole bunch of tattoos and chains and dreads and a baseball cap and you looking like a Pookie and you got the Nikes on or whatever, I firmly believe he would have wrote my ass up a ticket. Let alone if you got any anything on your driving record, because they can pull everything up. They can pull up your criminal record. They can pull up to see if you got a warrant. They can pull up if you got any DUIs. They can pull up anything on you. If you got anything on you, all of that is being used to profile you. But I firmly believe in this day and age that people of good sense and good moral character are looking for other people of good sense and moral character and to give people a break. I firmly believe that, and I experience it time and time again. I've been pulled over before. Me and my wife and my children, we were in a car, and this was in town. And the white police officer said, "Did you know that you drove through 2 stop signs?" I said, "No, I wasn't aware that I rolled through 2 stop signs." He said, "Not 1, but 2. But 2. Let us go. Let us go. Could have got points, everything. Increase insurance. You know me, I'm a stickler for making sure that, you know what I'm saying, my expenses are going up. But I firmly believe that if you carry yourself a certain way, people will see it and people will treat you a certain way. People will interact with you as a certain way. Oh, I got the right to wear dreads and I got the right to wear anything I want. This is America. I got the right to present myself anywhere I want. If I want gold teeth and I want to put tattoos on my face and this and the third, I ain't got not a tattoo or piercing on my body. And I got rid of them dreads a long time ago when a commissioner that I was working for, high-level position in Department of Youth Services, get rid of them damn dreads. Get rid of them locks. Get rid of that stuff. You know what I did? I went ahead and, because he understood a long time ago that you're going to be judged and you're going to be profiled based on how you look. This is just a reality of the situation in this country. Teach your sons how to correctly deal and interact with people. Because, see, that could be the difference between life and death. That could be the difference. Your daughters, see, they'll yoke up a woman just as quick as they yoke up. I remember there was this incident, I believe it was in Atlanta, something. They threw this black woman to the floor. She thought she was going to trade words with this cop. They arrested her ass. Threw her ass on the floor, treated her like a degenerate. Her boyfriend stood there, couldn't do nothing at all. One of these viral videos. They don't care. Learn how to conduct yourself. Learn how to deal and interact with people. Because, see, we're so busy with thinking that, screaming racism and confrontation and this, that, and third. We don't know how to act. We don't know how to respond. We don't know how to engage people, let alone one another, let alone law enforcement officers. Typically, we're engaging these people in a totally wrong way. Not every cop is an asshole. Not every cop is a racist. Not every cop deals this way. But if you act like an asshole, they gonna show you real quick and fast in a hurry how quick and how fast of an asshole they can be. Oh yeah, they will. They will. It's experiences like this that tell me that mentally and how I present myself and how I speak is on the right path. Because if you want to be an asshole, oh yeah, it could have turned out very much differently in that experience. But if you know how to conduct yourself, how to present yourself, how to carry yourself in public, the Most High will make up the hedge, because you know how to present yourself in public and be a man of honor, integrity, and character. And it shows. It shows in your presentation. Why? Because they're trained to profile you. They profile. This is what they do. So, being that this is the situation, why don't you take advantage of it and profile and make sure that you present yourself in such a manner that they ain't going upside your damn head.